Hello, and welcome back to the Right Brain Podcast. We have my good friend Callum Kerr here. He walked in wearing fast glasses as well. That's what me and my friends call these. They make you look super fast.
Oh, nice.
He copied me. Happens all the time. But yes, he just came out with a new EP called Roots Under Me. And he's going back out on tour. And he's on the show Virgin River, which just got picked up for another season. So, yeah.
Which is where I was first introduced to you. We were sitting at home. My wife and I watched that show.
Oh, nice.
And we were sitting there with her. And you show up on the show and she goes, "That's my friend Callum."
No way.
Yeah.
Did you know that I was?
No, I had no idea. I just saw you. I was like, Callum?
What the hell? I thought you were in Nashville already. Get back.
Get out of that hippie van and go back to Nashville.
It
I'm
was
pretty
funny.
sure I was wearing fast glasses in that as
Yeah,
well.
I think you probably were. Yeah.
Right.
It's becoming somewhat of a consistent look here. I think we're starting something new. A new
Oh,
fashion
yeah,
trend,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like I said, I started it and you copied me, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna wear my cutoff shorts today, but I knew you'd be wearing yours, so I thought I'll go with the full lengths.
That would have been too much.
Yeah.
Callum has an accent, if you guys didn't pick up on that. So where are you from, Callum?
So born in Edinburgh in Scotland and grew up there till I was 17, which you were saying you had family that
Yeah,
migrated from Scotland.
that's why Scottish accents, I pick up on them really quickly. And I love them because they're, my roots. I mean, on one side of my family was, my father's side was Italians. On the other side, they were all off the boat from Scotland.
Wow.
My grandmother, I think, was from Edinburgh. My grandfather was from Glasgow.
Nice.
And but yeah, my grandfather was a coal miner and like a boxer and
Yeah.
badass guy. He was in the Black Watch. I don't know if you ever heard of the Black Watch.
Yeah. Of course.
There was like the special forces, with the UK back in, it's like the Green Berets back in the day.
Yeah.
Like in the early 1900s. Like, so he was, but yeah, so that I grew up with that Scottish accent. And I remember I was listening to what's that other singer that's struggling with Tourette's right now? This guy.
Oh.
Lewis Capaldi.
Yeah, Lewis Capaldi.
Yes.
And I was listening to it. My wife loves him, and I was singing, and he says something where he goes, "And like instead of and you don't, like in Scottish where you go, and I know gonna do that, or I'm no gonna.
Right.
Do you do
And
that?
As in, like, instead of saying like I am not going to, I'm not.
Oh.
Right.
I'm gonna,
Yeah, and I heard him say that, and I went, "Oh, he's Scottish." And my wife was like, "He doesn't sound Scottish." I was like, "Who sounds Scottish when they sing, right?" So,
Right.
and then it turns out
Not
that he
you.
was.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's real primal for me. So I love that. I love
That's
that
cool.
Scotland.
Yeah, he's a national treasure. He's like a comedian as well as an incredible singer. He's so funny.
Yeah, his
You see
Theo
him
Vaughn episode was great.
on his little and he does these morning shows, and he's cheeky and hilarious, and people just die. The hosts are always dying with laughter the whole time. It's crazy. It's something that you guys could probably explain somewhat. That he can be that funny, and he's clearly the way that his brain works is like he's got to resort to humor because there's something behind that he's maybe hiding, or that he wasn't sure what it was before, but then he got diagnosed with Tourette's after he had like a panic attack on stage, and then they kind of broke it down after that. And I mean, that must be, I guess, did you ever?
I mean, if you ever know him, I mean, I can correct that Tourette's. I mean, that's what I work with all time.
Wow.
Almost, any child with autism has stims or tics, and OCD, tics, stimming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's part of my research. I've written some major papers, but we work with it, and like tics and like. I mean, Kevin James's daughter, I mean, he was on Joe Rogan talk about we were able to get rid of that in like 4 weeks. And she had
Really?
horrible, I mean, like full body screaming, hitting herself thousands a day. And nobody could help her. And she came and we were able to get rid of that. So that's why I feel when I see that guy, I'm like, reach out to me, man. I can change this for you.
Well, I've never met Lewis. Lewis did actually make fun of me on one of his TikToks once, it was like a weird honor because he's so
right.
funny. And I was like, oh, he's chosen me to make fun of. And, there's always a rivalry between Edinburgh and Glasgow. They kind of represent the East Coast and the West Coast of Scotland, but they're only about 40 minutes away. There is
Right.
definitely a clear line down the middle, an imaginary line where
Oh, that's funny.
even the cuisine is different, and we argue about which is better. I guess it's kind of like, what's better, the slice of pizza from New York or the Philly cheesesteak. It's like, ours is better because I was born here. I've been told it's better.
Yeah, right.
And so he's kind of from right in the middle, but he sounds a little bit more West Coast, and he was making fun of my accent because obviously I lived in America for so long, and I sound like, to you guys I probably sound Scottish, but to Scottish people I kind of sound American.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he was like, ooh, fancy accent. And I was like, oh man, come on, dude.
Hey, listen, that's the best thing, right?
Well,
That's how we show love to each other in Scotland, is we make fun of each other. And,
or fight one another, one of those two things.
Right, yeah. The moment that someone's just being really nice to you, they probably don't like you. You know what I mean? If someone's just like, hey, how are you? Okay, well, have a great day. It's like, you're not going to be friends with that guy.
Right.
Someone's like, hey, nice pants, loser.
Right. Right.
That's going to be my buddy.
Yeah, if you guys come down to Nashville and see Callum and our friend Chris playing, they're both they actually have an amazing song together, but they're both Scottish, and like if you just walk in and they're both singing, it's just the most country accent, and then they'll stop and they'll just I'm not even gonna attempt to do your accent, but it's always they'll be like, oh no. I can't.
I understood everything
but
you said.
They'll both start talking to each other, and I feel like anytime I like bring a friend that doesn't know them, they'll be like, wait a minute, they were just singing like with the most American accent, and now you can't even, you have no idea what they're talking about. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
I definitely learned to sing in Texas, so I was just parroting the guys that were singing because I thought the songs were good. So when I first got to Texas, it was 2011, I think, and my boss had sent me 20 quintessential country songs to know before you get to Texas. And obviously I hadn't really heard country music before growing up in Scotland. It's big there now, but when I was growing up, maybe Dolly Parton 9 to 5 and Man, I Feel Like a Woman were the only country songs that I knew, just because they were so big that they were, global hits. But the Zach Brown Band, who you were talking about, and I know that you guys have worked together before, and Dirks Bentley and Jason Aldean and Luke Bryan, they were all the kind of young dudes coming up. I just fell in love with it. But when I was singing, I always played the guitar, so when I was singing their songs, I was just trying to sound like them. And now it's harder to sing in a Scottish accent. It would just sound weird, I think. And like you were saying, most Brits sound kind of at least transatlantic-y or just full-on American when they sing anyway. I guess I just chose the specific region of America that I was going to sound like. And now it's like a callus. It's just hardwired in there. And it would be weird for me not to sing like that.
Even your own songs.
Even my own songs.
Even your own songs.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially because I write country music.
Right.
And that,
so
that's
you're
the
playing in that
genre,
right?
Yeah. It just kind of
makes sense.
With Virgin River, we did a song for the show, and my character is not a country guy. And so I had to try and remove the country from the accent to record the song.
Really that's hard. Funny.
So it was still American, but without the country. Wow. It was tough. I can still hear the country in it, but we definitely just softened it.
Pretty soon you're going to go full out pop music.
I'm the next Justin
Bieber with them glasses on.
And the backwards cap, if I could dance.
So normally, like, we'll like ask you what you were like as a kid and stuff, because that's how we started a lot. Cool. So what were you like?
As a kid, I was ultra competitive. Everything was like a competition.
Were you athletic? Was it sports mainly?
Yeah, very athletic. Played every sport and was immediately good at like almost all of them because I was fast and I could catch, I guess. So I think very competitive, very good at sports. The one that I wasn't good at was golf, because it's like the only one that you actually need patience for.
Right, exactly.
And I tried it once and I was horrible at it, and I was like, not for me. I'm going to go play soccer, rugby, karate, tennis, all those other fun things where you can just be fast and have, relative hand-eye coordination. And so very, very competitive and top of the class for the first probably 14 years of my life, probably until about puberty. And
Meaning
then
academically?
Academically, yeah.
So you didn't struggle with any sort of academics. You did well reading, math, all of those things.
Everything. I think I kind of looked at art, I guess, as like a waste of time. I think when I was a kid, not outwardly, but subconsciously, I was like, yeah, I could spend an hour painting, or I could just do these math equations, and there's a correct or an incorrect answer. So that was the kind of start of my life. I was quite. Trying to think. It's weird. I've not thought about me as a kid for a long time, but I think I was quite ambitious, and I don't know where I got that from. My parents both had great work ethic, but
Did you have siblings?
I had a younger sister.
Younger sister?
But I still have a younger sister.
Yeah.
She's just not as young as she was back then anymore. But yeah, I had a younger sister who was like total opposite. She was a cool girl, middle of the class, not stupid, but didn't care to be at the top.
Right. So you weren't cool. You were like a nerd. Like, were you like the academically, like you were
academically nerdy, but I think
but you're also athletic.
Didn't get bullied because I was on sports teams, so at least I had other big guys to back me up if something bad happened. So I was quite lucky in that way. And then I think roundabout, I guess it must have been puberty / when you start kind of, I wasn't just playing soccer in a field every day after school. There would be girls and there would be alcohol getting passed around, and I think around about then I kind of stopped caring as much about school, and then I viewed it all as a waste of time. So it wasn't just the art and the history classes that were a waste of time in my head. Everything was, and it became a social club.
You mean even sports as well? Or
Kinda,
did you stick with sports? And
I stuck with sports, but I didn't care about them as much. I think from what you were saying earlier, that creative side of the brain came out, and so I stopped caring about training. Sports, we call it training, I guess, practice. So we'd practice. Rugby was my main sport, and we'd practice twice a week and be in the gym twice a week and play on a Saturday. And I hated all of it apart from playing, because when I was playing, I was good. And the more relaxed I could be and the more I didn't care, the better I could be, because theoretically you should do this in a game. But if I can do something else and look like the man,
right,
and score under the post and wave to the girls, sometimes I'd try that. I'd lose the ball and we'd lose points because of me. But I would rather try and be the showman and try and do something to show off. Yeah. So that people would be like, oh, I saw that one thing you did. Yeah, you messed up towards the end and we lost the game because of you. But if I had one highlight reel. And so I don't know when that was, when I started kind of.
Well, even when you talk about being very competitive, that was the first thing you said about yourself. Was that driven by wanting people to be proud of you, or wanting people to really like you? Do you feel like it was like you wanted to make your parents very proud of you, or you really cared about what other people thought and how you looked and perceived in both sports and academics, do you think?
I think my thought at the time was that everything was a game, and I loved playing. I was outside all the time. But I think I've looked back at that kind of stuff a lot. My parents, from when I was 6 months old, I went to, we call it a childminder, I guess you would say, like a nanny. But she was a nanny we'd go to her house and she had maybe like 4 or 5 other kids. So it was like a small daycare type thing. We call it a childminder. They mind your child while they're at work. And I hated it.
Right.
And so I think I probably worked this, or I don't know if I've worked it out, but I probably came to the realization about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, that I wanted to be the center of attention, because I never was in that situation. My parents were at work, so I was with someone else. She had kids. She was great. She kept us safe and gave us lunch, and we got everything we needed. But her kids could go upstairs and we weren't allowed upstairs, and it just felt, as a kid, you're kind of like the second class citizen. Right. And I think that gave me a huge dose of like a stubborn, like, I'm going to be the best.
Right.
And I think it started out with sports, and then it kind of translated into
academics.
academics, being told what to do. I'm not going to do what you tell me to do.
Right.
I can do this anyway. I don't need to do the homework. I'll pass the test anyway. And then, of course, the test scores started coming down, and they're like, well, we got a problem here.
Yeah. So it was really driven kind of by and that's interesting. That's how we talked about how you build resilience in somebody, and motivation is often through challenges. Where you don't give them everything. You don't, like every child, you can just have whatever you want, or it's really easy, or, you're kind of thrown into a situation which, again, you felt uncomfortable with. And maybe also because you weren't around your parents a lot, maybe you wanted to get their attention more, or, listen, hey, look at me, look what I can do. And maybe that'll make you give me more time and attention. What did your parents do? What were did they have any unique talents or abilities, or? Not in
the kind of sports or artistic sense, but my mom was a credit control manager for a law firm. She was actually at very early days, she was in the accounting department at EY, and then she moved to a law firm. And my dad worked for the government in a lot of different kind of employment capacity jobs over the years. So he was on just general unemployment. Then he was hired to rehab criminals or people with a criminal past who were unemployed. So he kind of took like the tougher, which is hilarious because my dad is like, he was military sergeant growing up. So they obviously saw him and they were like, we got some bad eggs over here. Can you be military sergeant for them? And then, he did it for long enough and really, there was so many different reasons that he then went back to kind of general unemployment because, there was so much of the reoffending and stuff like that would happen. But yeah, my dad he's the classic up at 5 a.m., out the door, back, cooks for the family, takes me to rugby, takes my sister to gymnastics. So end of the day, he's got coffee in his hand. Like it's 10 o'clock. Why are you drinking a coffee? He's like, pal, if I didn't have this coffee, I'd be asleep at 7. And then my mother was work ethic. She was worked at EY or the credit control place, and then she would pull bar shifts at the local bar and do charity work. She was, I think, the one great thing that I think anyone kind of needs in this industry and music is a work ethic, because there's no one to push you, and I think I definitely got that from my parents.
Yeah.
So great. Because you're saying like you loved being the showman and everything, so when did like getting into music or acting start for you, and which one came first?
Music first, but it was at school, so it was guitar lessons, and then in the bedroom singing as if I was on a stage in front of people.
I did that too.
Oh my gosh.
How old
so
were you
fun.
At that point? Like 13, 14, 15?
No, I think the singing in the bedroom very early. Actually, my parents used to sing us to sleep, which is hilarious. I've started doing that to my daughter now. When I put her down, it's like you do the little nursery rhymes and stuff. And then when my parents stopped putting me to bed, I would sing myself to sleep. But I'd sing the songs I wanted to sing. It wasn't nursery rhymes anymore. It was like the cool guy songs. And I remember my parents being like, all right, Cal, enough singing. Go to sleep. But it never felt like something that I could pursue. And I never ever wrote songs you had like in those kind of early teenagers, the X Factor. And we had Pop Idol, which ended up being American Idol in the States.
We ripped it off.
And all those, Simon Cowell saw America and some big old dollar signs. He was like, I'm gonna do that over there. But yeah, they were all there. I never wanted to audition for any of them because I was like, I loved doing it, and I'd see some people on the X Factor, and I'd be like, I think I could probably do that, but it was never. I think part of the town that I grew up in, very working class. Guys either want to be soccer players or they pick up the trade that their dad had, and if you ever branched out, you were called gay, which is hilarious because my friends still do that to me. Now it's with love, but it was you'd get bullied pretty fast in a tough part of town if you wanted to be a singer or an actor or whatever. And then I'll try and keep this short because I kind of came in and out of it a little bit. At 15, I auditioned for a show called Skins, which is the biggest show in the UK at the time.
You were on Skins?
Didn't get it.
Oh,
but I auditioned, and it was an open audition.
Yeah.
So most acting jobs you have to have an agent. This one they were like, we just want kids that want to be on TV. And so I went down, I made my mom drive me 8 hours because I was like, I think I could do this.
So you generated it yourself. Like you found it. Nobody, like your parents didn't push you. Nobody.
Totally, yeah. I would watch movies and I would think, I think I could do that.
Cool.
And if I could, what a cool life it might be.
Right.
Yeah.
And, at 15 years old, I was like, I'm going to be dating Jennifer Aniston. I'm going to be living in Beverly Hills. I'm going to have the best life ever.
I think she's still single. Right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not. I messed up. Yeah. I basically found a girl who's like, was Jennifer Aniston when I was like that age, at this age. So I think, I think I did all right.
Worked
and she's
out
not
perfectly.
an actress, so she doesn't leave for 9 months a year, which is great.
Right.
But yeah, audition for the show. They had like 5 rounds of recalls, which is still to this day the most amount of recalls I've ever done, even for jobs that I've got. But I guess they just wanted to get the right guys, and it was to play 2 brothers in season 5 and 6 of Skins when it was probably at its height, and it was between me and another guy. I was really blonde when I was a kid, so it was me and another guy with blonde hair and 2 mixed race brothers, and it was at that point, it was nothing to do with the acting. They were like, either one of these sets of brothers could go in, but we're trying to build the cast to, include a diverse array of people, the kind of people that live in Bristol. And so I guess we were waiting on who was going to be cast as the girl. And so if they'd cast a certain person, it would have been us 2 brothers. And if you cast another one, it would have been them 2. And those 2 brothers got it. We missed out. And I was devastated at the time. And then I just went back to school and normal life. I was this close to being on like the biggest show for teens and young adults. I just went back to school and I was really not interested. Got an opportunity to play rugby full time, and so that kind of got me out of school at 16. And I played rugby full time for a year. Having done the Skins audition and almost getting that to go to playing rugby, I realized that rugby was not the passion. I was good enough at it to get offered a contract. It's kind of like the same level as, we don't have college teams. So I guess the level that I was at would be the equivalent of college football. Like, you're good enough to get there, but I didn't think I was good enough to get to NFL.
The next level, right?
Yeah. And I wasn't getting a degree out of it. So, it wasn't well paid. And so I left.
And you're in pain a lot.
Yeah, all the time.
It hurts, man.
Yeah. I dislocated my shoulder the first, couple of games into my kind of semi-pro career. And yeah, so I left, got a job in Texas, coaching kids sports.
Okay, I was going to say, because you started off saying that your boss, before you went to Texas, said you got to listen to these songs. And I was wondering what job was that, but I wanted to get to the lead up to that. So you're there. So then you got offered a job coaching primarily.
That's right. Yeah.
Like what sport? Was it rugby? Or?
It was summer camp where kids who are 13 to 15, or at least there was loads of kids, but my kids that I was looking after were 13 to 15, and they were really good at sports. So they were called the sportsmen of the camp. And so I would take them for 28 days and take them through the life of being a pro athlete. And so at like 13 years old, some of these kids were already getting looked at by colleges for scholarships. And so, I'd get them up in the morning at 6 o'clock and, we'd go running and then cook eggs and sourdough. And then it's like workout one of the day, and then we go have a nap, and then we wake up and we play maybe some tennis or something and have our second workout of the day, and then have a big cookout at night, and I'd teach them about nutrition and how you're supposed to eat and behave. And we'd conduct fake interviews with them and stuff like that, So one of them would be the cameraman and the other one would be like the sportsman. And so it was great. I had a great time at, 110 degree Texas summer for 90 days straight.
Yeah.
3 different terms.
Right.
So 3 different groups of kids. And that's where, in my off time, I was going to shows, I was playing music, I was falling in love with country music, basically.
So after the Skins thing fell off, the acting thing fell off for a while. Like you weren't doing anything with that. It wasn't like an agent found you or.
Yeah, I left it alone for a long time.
And so you focused more on the music from the creative side.
Yeah, or just the just to playing other people's songs, for fun.
Right,
It was
okay.
the fun side, I guess. I didn't think it was going to be a career. Started acting again. I got an opportunity
In Texas?
The rugby world came creeping back in, and I got an opportunity to go to Texas A&M on a scholarship. The only school in the whole country that gave a full scholarship for rugby, and they offered me a scholarship, and I was very close to doing it. And I thought, I don't want to go back into this rugby world and do the degree and all this. I'm going to go be an actor. I'm going to finally just like hang everything else up and just focus on this one thing. And I didn't have the right visa to do it in America. I don't know how much you know about visas, but if you get a visa to come and be a sports coach in America, that's your job. We hired you from the outside because we need one of these. If you come to be a sports coach and you end up going to work in a bar, like, we're going to kick you out because we hired you as a sports coach.
Sure.
And so I had to go back, moved to London for a couple of years, and I was still coming back and forward to Texas at that time. But yeah, started acting in London. Started with theater, kind of worked my way up to like getting a commercial, and then one line in a TV show, and then 3 lines, and then 2 episodes, and it just kind of just built from there. And yeah, did you ever do any acting, or was it always music?
Yeah, I went to acting school, and I studied Meisner.
Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt. I definitely knew that from like our first conversation 3 years ago, and I feel like we haven't spoken about it since.
That's true. I don't think we did.
So you studied Meisner?
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't talked about the fact that you really were into you did the improv and you did the acting for a long time. You did it at a high level.
I know. I do miss it. I feel like when I graduated acting school, I think like maybe like 5 months later the pandemic hit, and then so I like wasn't going on auditions, and then I decided to move down here during the pandemic, and then everything kind of started working out with music. So I just was like so focused on that. But I feel like now maybe I'd get back into it. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, well, let me know. I'll anything I can do to help.
Thanks,
I completely forgot about that.
You used to also get some really good feedback when you did in your acting classes. You would always talk about how, think you...
This is my dad hyping me up.
And
you're going to do that for your daughter.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
What's interesting is that I think, didn't you go to the same school as Mom? Like, didn't you have the same acting? Or
No.
Wasn't Maggie?
Yeah, she didn't go to Maggie Flanagan, though.
Oh, I thought she did.
No.
Okay. All right.
But no, I think she might have studied Meisner. But no, I do miss it a lot. And I feel like a lot of music and acting go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like so did you start like writing songs because it was like coming from like an emotional spot, or do you feel like you connected more like with acting and then the songwriting started to come out?
Yeah, the acting was, I always played, even when I started acting, was still playing country music as a hobby.
Yeah.
But I still hadn't written a song. And then I got an opportunity to audition. I was back living in Austin at the time. So maybe skipped like 4 years maybe in London of kind of building up the acting resume. I'd moved back to Texas. I got an opportunity to audition for a Texas country singer for a TV show called Monarch, which we only did 1 season, but Trace Adkins was the lead, and it was all about country music. It was going to be like,
you watched that show?
You saw it, yeah.
I did, yeah.
Did you say you started it? Because I was going to say it was pretty bad.
Yeah,
and so it got a lot of viewers at the beginning,
I think I watched the first 2 episodes, and that was it.
Well, you got out at the right time, I'll be honest. But the problem was the
Dad,
music.
how could you? Callum was in that.
I was the same. But the music was so good. The problem was that the script was all over the place, and it didn't really make sense. It was an LA producer and a New York writer trying to write about country music, and they set it in Austin and not Nashville. And they just didn't get it right. We filmed it in Atlanta. It didn't even look like Austin. It didn't look like Texas. It was just, it was like a caricature of what it could have been, which is a shame. But all the music on the show was amazing. And I was in the studio recording it with all these Nashville session players and producers. And I was the only actor on the show that actually liked country music as well. So they were like, dude, you should go to Nashville. And when I was living in Texas, everyone in Texas, not everyone, a lot of people in Texas think Nashville sucks because they're like, we're the real country music. That's the, corporate commercial.
Yeah. And Texas has its own country music charts. So like
really?
you could be like people have full careers just being in Texas, like number one artists in Texas.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I mean, you can do that, and they have great, they make great money. But if you want to
Expand,
out to the nation, you have to come to Nashville. Like Cody Johnson's a good example. He was doing all the Texas circuits, had loads of Texas hits, and then came to Nashville and became global superstar. Cody Johnson.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was it. I was with a lot of people from Nashville who were like, "You got to come to Nashville." The moment I stepped out of the truck in Nashville, I was like, this is what I'd wished that Austin had been the whole time that I was there. I couldn't believe how great the music scene was here. And I still had to finish up a couple of jobs elsewhere. But I got an apartment right away. I was like, I don't care if it's empty for 3 months. As soon as those jobs are done, I'm landing in Nashville. And that's probably when I met you. It was right at the beginning when I got here that we met.
Yeah, we met at like an Old Dominion show or something. Or like, it was a whiskey jam.
It was, but the outdoor series. And oh my God, I forgot about that. So it was snowing heavily. And it was, like the end of October. It wasn't snowing, it was iced.
Freezing cold.
It was negative something.
Yeah.
And my buddy Brock, it might have just been the two of us. We were waiting for another artist to come on, but we were like, let's go get some heat in the Mexican restaurant. Get a taco or something. And you guys walked in. And we're like, oh, look, there's, 3 attractive girls just walked in. Brock, hey guys. And then, we just kind of,
became friends ever since.
Became friends. And it was cool that you guys were all in music as well. I think that's, that's where.
Yeah, everywhere you turn, I think like that's what I realized when I moved to Nashville too. Like I had a very similar experience that like the second I moved here, and I've told you this a bunch, that it just like, I just felt like I was on the right like plane or something, like energetically. Like everywhere I went, it was like, oh, I met this person who does country music and they want to write about this and they know this person, and it just kind of all fell into place. Oh, you're taking your glasses off, dude.
I saw yours on your head. I realized mine were still on.
No, it was very relaxing to have them on. It just got, I don't know why I pulled it up. I just did. But
yeah, the way I describe it is this whole town is full of right brain dominant people, right?
Right.
LA, New York, I think you have a mix, and you have more kind of, it's a little bit more cutthroat and competitive. And down here, it just seemed like everybody's so kind of welcoming and embracing and, wanted to work together. I remember when you were younger, you would always say that, you didn't really want to write with anybody. You wanted your songs to be only your songs. And then when you came down here, it was like, oh, wait, I'm writing with all these people. And I think that's really good for you. Because remember, we were just talking about the Billy Joel documentary, and he was saying that one of the hardest things was that he could not write with anybody. He could only write songs himself. And that after 20 years of doing that, it's kind of a lonely time. He would have to really go into himself and really isolate and be separated, and
sure.
And then after a certain period of time, he just couldn't do it anymore. That's why he stopped writing. So do you understand that? Like, do you feel again, obviously you sound like you're a pretty balanced guy, and that you've also developed some pretty good resilience skills. But do you resonate with, we had talked about that whole right brain, those emotions, things like anxiety, social anxiety, fear of being rejected or being judged, or as a performer, do you feel them, and how do you deal with them?
The rejection part, I don't mind as much. And again, I don't know if that's practice from having so many acting auditions, and people only see the credits on your IMDb. They don't see the 3 million no's that you got as well along the way.
I think sports helps with that too, because you understand that in sports you're never going to always win, right? And you more often than not, when you're practicing, you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay, because that's how you get better.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think. I'm trying to think of I have a, I guess anxiety is the word. And I never knew what to call it, because I wasn't like a panic attack guy. I wasn't like oh my God, I got to run off stage because I feel like I'm going to throw up. But I definitely feel I definitely feel it, and the more I've researched on it, the more that you can feel it and not, you can care but not care about it per se, the easier it gets. And so the first few times you get, like, getting on stage sober. I still drink, I'm not completely sober, but I like to play shows sober. Maybe have a beer on stage or something with me, but there's just such a different feeling to, you know, because I used to just get smashed and then go on stage and it was really easy. I was like, what's up, guys? Hey, I'm here. And I could barely see. And then, you know, when there's a difference to when you're about to get on stage sober and you're like, what if I pass out or throw up or piss myself or all three at the same time in front of all these people that are watching me? Yeah, I guess that is like a panicky feeling. You feel like you're trapped. And
you think that's why you used to drink, because instinctively that would lower that and, you know, reduce that when you went on stage?
It would always reduce it, yeah.
And was it only before you were supposed to perform, or did you feel those emotions other places, or even do you feel in your childhood yet any of that?
Childhood, I think I felt it in big crowds, you know, football stadiums and stuff like that. If we have a big rugby stadium and I'd feel trapped, you know, small dude, I don't know, 6 years old and all these adults, and, you know, I definitely had that kind of almost claustrophobia thing. And then for a long time, I didn't feel anything, and it was great. But I also was, you know, not emotionally intelligent. So I don't know if you're the same, but when you're 18 years old and just absolutely stacked with testosterone and the world ahead of you, you don't really consider other people's feelings, and you don't care. If I was the kind of guy that, like, if I broke my arm, I'd just walk around with my arm trailing behind me. I don't need to get it fixed. I'll just crack it back into place.
My older brother was exactly like that.
You know, it's just when you're that age, I didn't care. And then it was probably about 25, and I guess they say that guys kind of keep maturing until they're obviously we learn more after that as well, but your brain keeps developing until you're 25. And it was about that time that I started kind of feeling things. You know, like, maybe you should, you know, treat girls with more respect. Maybe you should treat yourself with more respect. Maybe you should you know, maybe you should call your grandmother more. I just didn't, it wasn't that I wasn't thinking about it and then going, I don't care about those people. I just didn't think about it. I moved to America at 17 and didn't call my parents for like 4 months. They were like, are you alive? I was like, yeah, I'm having a great time. What do you want?
Yeah, right. Don't bug me.
And so, yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot the question, but
no, just the ideas of the anxiety and the feelings of that, or fear of rejection or things like that. That, you know, where that started from, and, you know, how much that's impacted you or incorporated into what you do, let's say with writing or anything.
Do you have it less like when you're acting than when you're on stage?
Acting for film or TV, yes, because you get multiple takes if you mess up. It's a relaxed atmosphere. You're treated like a king, which is maybe I don't know if there's something in that. I feel really awkward when people are overly nice to me. I don't know if that's a Scottish thing or it's a me thing, but, you know, Callum, let me get your car door. Can I get you a coffee? I'm like, I can get my own door and I can get my own coffee. Maybe right. Stubborn. I don't know what that is, but gosh, I'm trying to think of. Trying to, like, because I know that there's a lot of messed up shit going on back here all the time, but I'm trying to think of how to word it to kind of give you something. And you know, I think when I was a kid, I think I immediately thought that people wouldn't like me or think I was weird, and so maybe that kind of leaned into why I wanted to impress people. I was
like that too. I always think that was my like baseline, was like, oh, maybe they don't like me, you know?
Yeah. And where do you think that came from?
I don't know.
For yourself?
Her right brain.
My right brain, yeah. I just like hyper aware of like people. Well, he always says like right brain people, which is probably why you're such a great actor, is like you can feel other people's emotions. You can read like little micro facial expressions. You can like, you know, all those things, but then it makes you like so hyper aware of what people must be thinking about you and like how they're feeling. And then you can kind of feel their energies more. And so I feel like I just like felt all of that too much. And then, so I was just like, every time I was in a space, I just feel like I could feel everybody else in my space too. And I was just wanting to please everyone.
So I was going to, do you think that you need everyone to like you?
Yeah.
or ruin your day?
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, probably. I mean, now I think like the older I get, I'm a little bit more like protective of myself. Cause sometimes I'll check in and I'll be like, do I even like that person that I want to like me? And then sometimes I'm like, no, so that's fine. But yeah, I think if I'm just being myself and I could feel somebody not like loving that, I'm like, why? you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
How do you feel about music? As in, if someone said, obviously, it's like when you get 99 comments saying, we love this song. If there was one comment that said, this song's the worst thing I've ever heard, would you be, can you let that fly over your head because there's 99 great comments?
I think when it's a song that I wrote that I truly love, that's me authentically, like I could give a fuck if someone's like, this sucks.
Good.
But if it's a song that I like co-wrote with someone that's kind of pop and I'm like, this isn't exactly me, but I'm going to put this out, and someone's like, this fucking sucks. I'm like, I know it sucks. And that hurts more.
You? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you feel about those questions that you just asked her? Like, do you feel that too? Like,
Yeah, Dr. Callum.
Do you want people to like? Did you really want people like people's approval? Does it really upset you if you get any, negative reviews?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And so, and sometimes what you were saying, which is interesting, is that sometimes you kind of agree. If I don't know, if I put a song out that, it's just an easy example, but if I put a song out that I wasn't 100% happy, I didn't think it was my best song ever, but someone calls that out and says, "Oh, this song sucks." I don't know. It's not happened often, luckily. I think you got to be a certain level of giant artist before you get like hundreds of hate comments, and that's usually a sign of success. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if someone doesn't like it, I have a tendency, I think, to agree and say, well, I would have done this different as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
get jealous of people that go, well, F you, I don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you to listen to it. This is just what I do. Go listen to someone else.
Yeah.
That's such a cool way to be.
It is
I wish
so
I could be more like that, but
yeah, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But it's a double-edged sword because it's that desire, again, that right brain desire for people to love you and for acceptance that drives you to work so hard and be a perfectionist so that you want to get it right because of that fear of pain. We're either motivated by happiness or by pain.
Right.
And pain is more of a motivator, that fear of being rejected or getting that bad comment is kind of what drives you maybe to go that extra mile to be as good as you are.
Right.
That's that competitiveness. That's where, like you said, that might have been the root of your competitiveness, was that I want people to like me.
Do you think that with the professionals that you've worked with, do you think that, when someone's really great until they've kind of made it and then the pain goes away, and that's why you see a lot of artists either just retire or their first album was their best and then they kind of...
Yeah.
We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah. We were talking about it. Yeah. We were
on the
talking
podcast.
No, not on the
Okay. I was going to say, I don't want you to have the same conversation twice.
No.
No, we're talking about it in this context of the Billy Joel, thing, because it was really interesting looking at his trajectory and at a certain point. And you're right. It's like you get those people that have that fire in their belly, and a lot of that is probably fueled by that fear of being rejected. And they also have this creativity and they have these abilities and they want to share that and they have something to say. And then they go there and they make it. And now, do they lose that desire? Do they lose that motivation? And, do they, because, one of the things that the nature of the business, like say music, is if you make it and you write that one song that everybody loves, and then you got to sing it every night for the rest of your life. And repetition, like doing things repetitively, the right brain hates that. It doesn't like doing that. It likes novelty, newness. It's got to always have something new. It can lose interest really, really quickly. So now you have to struggle with, the thing that you wanted, which was this song or songs, everybody loving them and singing them.
Right.
And now they love them and sing them so much that you have to sing it every day for the rest of your life.
That's funny.
And now it's kind of like, Billy Joel even talked about it. At a certain point, he got sick of singing the same songs every night and doing the same thing. And then it just became like, again, working. I got to write this music, and I got the pressure of doing that.
Yeah.
And, so I think a lot of that, yeah.
Would you advise artists to try and lean against that feeling? Like, I don't want to sing the same. Would you advise them, like, I know that if you can tell your right brain to quiet that, you can make a lot of money here. You can live, you can have happiness in the rest of your life if you have this.
Exactly.
This, if you can quiet that emotion inside of you.
If you can. Then I was just saying that, you always have to remain grateful, because in any job, in any profession, to be great, it has to be based on thousands and thousands of reps of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like being an athlete, like, again, you have to practice it over and over and over and over to be really good. And then at a certain point, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Same thing with music, same thing with acting. I mean, with anything, being a doctor, I mean, we're doing routine things over and over, and that's how you develop, you become really good at it, especially the foundational basic things.
Right.
So it kind of comes with being great, and you have to kind of be grateful that you got to that level. There was something that drove you to do those reps over and over because you wanted to achieve something, and then you achieve something, and now you need to be able to let yourself be grateful for that. And a lot of that goes back to that, also that right brain. I'm not worthy. This is an imposter syndrome. I'm not really as good as people think I am, or everybody sees me as, and so that's a lot of that is also where at a certain point you just like, I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not good enough, or that comes over real quickly.
Yeah. That's really interesting. That kind of, I feel like I kind of I feel like I learned that, or I heard it first quite late. I guess when I was a kid, I was quite good at everything just right away. So here's some math questions. I could do them. Here's a rugby ball. Go run fast and try and score over there. I could do it. And I think that there was a time where my natural ability was finally caught up with the level of how hard something would be, and I didn't know how to work hard, and I didn't know how to put in reps, because the kids that were average at those that I've had to put in reps to get to that level had now had their 5-6 years of actually getting better and understanding the sport, whereas I was like, I'm playing on feeling and just being fast or whatever. And so with music, I was kind of the same. I was like, I can kind of sing on tune, but it was only in the last few years where I've kind of realized that I can learn. That sounds crazy, but I just thought you were born with it or you weren't.
Yeah.
And the last few, and it kind of like opens up your opportunities, because I have learned how to produce music and look at an EQ curve and actually listen and try and work out. And it took like 6 months to train my ears to work out where the EQ should be cut. And I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with that, but I guess with what you were saying about like you have to do the reps to be great. I just never did that.
There's recent research came out just showing that, kids when they're young, if they're told that they're just great, and they're really good at everything, and you're special, and you're special, and you're special, that at a certain point they struggle with anxiety because they don't know how to work for something. They just think that it's a God-given thing. They just think they're natural and it's special, and and they can't deal with failure.
Yeah.
So when they face adversity, that's the whole thing of resilience. They collapse. Whereas that's what you want to tell kids when they're young. You want to reward them for the effort, not for the result. You don't want to say,
nice.
You're just so great and you're better than all the other kids, or you're just special. You want to focus on, you worked really hard, you did a really good job, and we're proud of you. Doesn't matter if you didn't get an A or whatever. It's the effort that you reward.
Yeah.
And you're really saying that you were just so gifted naturally. It was easy, and probably you got a lot of praise for that. People going, wow, you're just so good. And you were like, okay, well, it's just easy, and it's always going to be easy. And then when it wasn't, you were like, wait, fuck this, I don't want to do it anymore, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. As soon as it got hard, I was done.
Right.
And
exactly.
So, that I have no complaints about the way that I was raised. I think my parents did everything as well as they could, and they were awesome parents. But I definitely wish someone had helped me understand that earlier. And it's easy to say now because the internet is everywhere, and you could, if you want to look up a subject, you can type it in. They were just being parents. They were just like, we're giving you a roof over your head, and we feed you 3 meals a day, and you get to play all the sports you want. And
right.
Crack on, buddy. We got to work, so good luck. Good luck out there.
Yeah.
And I guess there's something nice to having to work things out on your own. But yeah, I mean, if I could have, it's like if you could talk to yourself when you were 14, the amount of advice that I'd give that kid, would be, he probably wouldn't take it anyway, which is hilarious.
Well, guess what? You have a daughter that you can actually pass it on to now, right? So reward
She's
her.
my experiment.
Reward her effort for things, not, don't always tell her you're, the most special and you're the best. And, just say, reward the effort that she makes, and let her do it, and let her fail, and let her struggle for things, because you're always going to want to be there, so.
And then she could turn out as perfect as me.
There we go. That's all we can hope for, really,
No, but speaking of like you saying what you would tell your 14-year-old self, we always kind of end up asking, like, if you were to give advice, because obviously there's a lot of people that look up to you, and you're so talented and you're very humble. I know you don't like when people are nice to you, so also fuck you, Callum.
Sweating.
But
it might be doing a Virgin River spinoff with you, right? Yep. So that you're about to maybe be really.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I think it's going to happen. It should happen.
It's been in development for about a year, so. We'll see what happens. It's up to the gods over at Netflix, the TV gods of Netflix. But if it doesn't, I mean, I've a couple other shows coming out, and we've already filmed them. I've got another season of another show. God, I'm like trying to remember what I'm supposed to say and not. But there's things in the pipeline. So if it's not that one, I'd love it to be that one. But if it's not, we just move forward.
Well, we just manifest it.
On to the next one.
We'll manifest it right now. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. All right.
So if you were to give advice to, like, the 14-year-old kids out there that are looking up to you and they're like, damn, his life is cool and he worked really hard to get there, like, what would you say?
I'd probably say to, little me, I'd be like, if you think it's cool, it is cool. Don't worry about what other people, because if you look back, what was cool when you were in high school is not cool anymore. Trust me.
No,
so,
it's true.
You were following the trends, they're not going to be cool anyway.
Acid wash jeans aren't still cool?
Well, for guys like us, we have a private conversation about that. I'll take them. But I think, if you think it's cool, it's cool. And I would say if I think, and this is kind of what I'm thinking about, the opportunity of being a parent and taking everything that your parents did and then maybe trying to add a little bit more of your experience on top. And I think if Isla, if my daughter or 14-year-old me said, I really like singing, I'd say, all right, well, in order to make a song, you need to learn Logic. And then once you have Logic and a guitar and a microphone, you can make a song in your bedroom. And, you don't need to audition for the X Factor and ask for their sage advice and hope that Simon Cowell thinks you're cute enough to be in his boy band or whatever. And I guess, if you want to be an actor, here's a $150 camcorder and here's $150 for Final Cut Pro. Go film some stuff, put it on your computer and start making films. And then you don't have to worry about other people telling you that you're either good enough or you can or you can't. And so I think that would be, I wish I'd been more self-starting earlier. But I think that because I wasn't, and because I was kind of waiting for opportunities and I was working hard at waiting, by the time I kind of realized, do your reps. You can do this on your own. I felt like I'd wasted a lot of time. So I moved with intention and quickly. So maybe I needed to go through that childhood of just expecting things to fall in my lap in order to realize that they wouldn't at like 27 and be like, oh man, I gotta get moving. You know, I don't have all you know, I'm gonna be 30 soon. And so yeah, I think that's the advice that I'd get. I'd be like, just start, just get going. You think it's cool, just go do it, go make it.
That's amazing advice.
F everyone else.
Yeah.
If they don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Callum. You're the best.
My pleasure. Seriously. Yeah. Thank you guys for
I'll
having
put my
me.
glasses back
That's
on.
great.
It is. Yeah. We'll close
If you
that.
think these are cool, they are cool. Then that's his advice.
Yeah, exactly. You think they're cool, they're cool. And
There you go.
no one can tell you otherwise. But yeah, it was really cool and very interesting to hear about your career and kind of how you look at everything and what you've found with your studies and your work and everything. So yeah, that was really cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Glad we
And
finally got to do this.
I'm glad we finally got to do it too. And yeah, check out his new EP that's out and the tour dates that are they released yet?
Tour dates will be, I think, this week coming out. This
Okay,
week. So
perfect.
we built a website, and so everything will go live all at once. And yeah, Texas, Oklahoma, Atlanta, and then maybe some support dates with someone else as well.
Oh,
that's still on the line. But he's doing. I think I'm going to join him for his West Coast
Amazing.
stuff. So
Cool.
Okay, so be on the lookout.
it will all be revealed as soon as we lock in the dates.
Amazing. Okay, well, thank you so much, Callum. You're the best.
Thank you guys both so much. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun.
Okay, it was really
yeah.
fun.
It's great.
All right, until next time.
Love you, honey.
Love you too.
Love you guys.